Okay.
I'm going to call the meeting to order. First of all, I'm going to ask, is any declaration of pecuniary interest of this? No, okay. And our approval of the minutes from the meeting from April the 16th. Can I do that? I'll read them. I'll second it. Okay, I'm going to go right to the property standards meeting. My name is Jim Russell. I'm the acting chairperson for the property standards committee today. I'd like to introduce myself, Jim Russell, Steve Beasley, right, and Dave Hellman, members of the committee. Committee functions are the committee is set up to under the provisions of the Building Code Act, statute of the province of Ontario. Its function is to hear appeals from orders to remedy issued by the property standards office under the property standards bylaw passed by the corporation of the village of Port Edward. Committee is in effect a court of appeal. It appears evidence from the persons involved can visit the site if warranted and can confirm, amend, or quash any order made by the property standards offices. It also has the power to extend times for compliance. If any of the parties are not satisfied with the committee's decision, the decision can be appealed to a court of law. All decisions will be rendered in writing. Anyone requesting a copy of the decision should provide the secretary with their full name and mailing address. Committee's function is to interpret and apply the provisions of the property standards bylaw. Committee's function is to interpret and apply the provisions of the property standard bylaw. The committee will administer an oath to all who provide evidence to it. The committee is sitting to hear an appeal. Its function is to decide on the evidence before it. Introduction to appeal. Oh, okay. That's right here. Okay. Introduction to the appeal. The committee is sitting today to hear an appeal made on the property owned by Prolificus Point Edward Incorporated, located at 204 Michigan Ave. Property Standard Officer, I will now call on the Property Standards Officer, Kelly Bedard, who will provide a review of the order, the relevant sections of the bylaw, and other applicable evidence. We would request that the presentation be limited to 15 minutes. Don't.
You wish to take an oath for an affirmation? Okay. Do you swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You? Just so everyone knows, this meeting is being live streamed. There's microphones in the room that are quite sensitive, so anything you say may go out to the public, okay?
Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Bedard. I am the Property Standards and Bylaw Enforcement Officer for the County of Lambton, servicing the village of Point Edward. I've been in this position 15 years. And on this occasion, I received actually 2 complaints from the village of Point Edward, pointing out that the intercom system was not working, and then a further complaint that there was mold in an apartment. So I spoke to the complainants, saw the intercom system. It is quite old. It looks like they've done a few makeshift things that I don't think are really working. And I was sent pictures of the mold and testing that had been done by one of the tenants at the lab that unfortunately I'm not able to interpret. So I sent an email to, we used MPAC, Municipal Property Assessment Corp, to find the owners and understood from the tenants that a property management company was employed to look after the building, that being Guardian. I did try to call Guardian and didn't get a response. And then I found an email address. I sent the email to Sarah Hannaford, and that was about the intercom system and the mold. She came back and asked me where she could find the applicable bylaw to cover the intercom system. So I did provide her that in the property standards bylaw, number 20 of 2017. It is section 4.06 under means of egress. And it is number 5. So if there is in a multi-residential dwelling where security locking and release system has been provided in the front or rear lobby for the entrance into the multiple dwelling, and that system is controlled from each dwelling unit, such system shall be maintained in good repair and in an operating condition. So I provided that to Ms. Hannaford and never did hear back from her. So on April 10th, 2025, I issued an order to remedy the violation of standards and maintenance occupancy under the bylaw to Prolificus Point Edward. And I sent it registered mail and posted it on the front and rear door. And I also registered it to the title of the property. The deficiencies: the doors, windows leak, signs of mold, and the intercom system not working. I think this has been an ongoing issue. We had a call back in 2023, and at that time they had reached out to an engineer to determine the where the water was coming in, and never received information on the engineer's report. That was different. That was an Amanda Robinson for Guardian. So that was somebody different than Sarah Hannaford. I did speak with Mr. Olson about an extension to my deadline. However, and it is due to availability of contractors. So it's been difficult to get the right contractor in there. Or both, to figure out where that water's coming in, remediate mold, and fix the intercom system. I was agreeable to an extension to September. However, I did speak with Mr. Olson about a more immediate response to the mold remediation for health reasons. Ideally, I try to work with people to gain compliance as opposed to orders enforcement. And I think health here. Mr. Olson is amenable to what I'm trying to do, get him an extension. I'm asking that you confirm my order and amend the deadline for compliance. I think we agreed, Mr. Olson and I, 30 days for the mold remediation and September for sealing up windows and doors. There's definitely a water problem. It's a matter of finding out where it's coming in, how it's coming in, why it's coming in.
This has been an ongoing issue for a few years.
Well, from our records, it's 2023 that
Okay.
she did reach out to the engineer, but we've never received a report. It would probably be quite extensive because I remember back then going up on the roof. There used to be a rooftop patio. And the building inspector at the time had some concerns with the weight of those stones, whether or not the roof would have been rated for. So, and again, it's not really evident how the water's coming in from the roof, the eaves troughs, the windows. So, I mean, it would be an extensive report, I think, from an engineer, and I don't see that they ever followed through.
Yeah, so when before they put the patio, do you know if there was an engineering study done to see if it's,
That's the problem, no.
no, that could be part of the problem, okay?
Ms. Bedard, you had mentioned the 30-day time period. 30-day, what would be the revised completion date on that? What would be the revised deadline on that, which we would see work completed within the 30 days?
For the mold,
Yes, yeah.
so I would go by the date of your decision and take 30 days. So if you make the decision today, which you don't have to do. However, if you feel you can make that decision today and put it out in writing, I would take 30 days from.
So that would be 30 days from today's date for the mold remediation and the water ingress investigation, and the intercom would begin on or before September the 8th. For the communicative intercom for the door.
Yes, but the water, where it is getting in that report is gonna take some time. That's what I discussed with Mr. Olson. He has already reached out to some contractors and timelines are. I mean, it's somewhat backwards because you're gonna wanna find out why it's happening before you fix it. I mean, if we're asking them to remediate the mold now and you don't figure out where the water's coming in, it's just gonna keep happening. So that's up to them. But my issue with the mold is the health issues surrounding.
Exactly.
So I would like to see that done and then by September, and I don't think we agreed on a date in September.
Okay, thank you.
Give Mr. Olson an opportunity to ask any questions.
Oh, right here?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, I'm.
Person.
Does the appellant wish to cross-examine the property standards officer?
Right.
Yes, you can.
Gentlemen. My name is Matthew Olson. I'm the proprietor of Olson Craig Legal Offices. I'm general legal counsel for the corporation. I don't think I have any questions. I'd like to just make a proposal. And hear some input on it, and then I may have a question. I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, proceed.
One question.
Sure, go ahead.
Do we have a timeline on the intercom system being repaired
That would be part of my proposal, yes.
sooner than later?
Yes.
We did speak about September.
Because I mean, that's kind of an issue for security reasons, et cetera, on that building.
Yeah.
So it will be looked after and hopefully.
I have a whole set of stuff for you. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, good, like to hear what you have.
all right.
Do you want to read this one? I think we run past this.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so,
Over there. You go.
okay,
We can stay here.
Yeah.
sure.
No, Mr. Olson.
Mr. Wilson, that's what I thought.
I can't testify. I'm legal counsel. She can stay theoretically. I can't actually testify.
So that's right.
So if you wanna do.
You're a representative of the
Yeah, you're
applicant.
a representative. So I'll just read this to you. I'd like to now call on the appellant, the representative. We request that your presentation be limited to 15 minutes. However, the committee will permit some flexibility to this guideline, providing comments are not repetitious. and are pertaining to the issues of the appeal. Or to be,
Is that, yeah,
Not technically, but I don't have an issue.
you don't, okay, oath or affirmation?
Oath, or either one, just the Bible.
You swear that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
okay, kind of read.
May I position myself here so I can look at my documents? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think
That's the camera.
you'd probably be better there, actually. And
That's okay. You know what's funny? Yeah, the first time I had to do one of these meetings, I thought, why are we doing this? It's stupid.
Just a formality.
Owen. Again, my name is Matthew Olson, General Legal Counsel for the corporation in question today. On behalf of the corporation, I would extend my apologies. The last several years in the investment field have been fairly difficult. But with that said, he does not intend to rely on the fact that it's difficult. He's done a bunch of significant work. We've assisted him with to make sure this property comes up to where it's supposed to. All right. I see three issues. I see one of them being urgent. I see two of them being as being needed to be done fairly soon. The urgent issue is there is an apartment number, and my apologies, I don't have the apartment number off the top of my head. But that apartment has some signs of mold. The mold seems to be coming from a leak in the roof. He has had 3 contractors in so far to look at that. Pardon me, 2 contractors in so far to look at it. One of them being a local company. I have a report from the local company. I apologize. I didn't realize there was going to be this many. I would have made a copy for you. But if I read from the report, the estimated cost to repair that was $10,000. Sorry, $8,000 with a $3,200 gap in there for some materials additionally. Depending on what the issue is, it's kind of hard to say how long it will take to repair before you know what the issue is. Unless you're my wife, in which case it gets done that weekend. I know that he has been actively searching for people to do this. The problem is there's not a lot of local qualified people that can do what he's asking, especially in relation to that intercom system. That intercom system was different, although I'll speak about that in a minute. We did manage to find somebody. As far as the leak in the apartment, I believe it was 202.
That's what I wait up to.
Yeah, that issue is, as far as I can understand, being addressed as we speak. It's already been looked at. There is some work scheduled for that. Looks like that work is supposed to be completed fairly soon. I guess, although I'm not aware, I guess they've identified the leak has something to do with the roofing. There's a hole in the flashing that's leading directly down to a board and into this lady's apartment.
So they have found it.
It sounds like it, right? I'm not the contractor, I'm just counsel, but from my discussions with him, it looks like they found it. We are asking for, and let me turn to my amendment real quick, on that issue, or my request real quick. On that issue, we were asking for it to be amended under Schedule B to read work to begin on or before September 8th. I believe he's already found somebody. I'm not sure as to the timing of when they're going to be able to do it, but it's my understanding it's already been cleaned and they're beginning to figure out how that's going to go. Sorry, wait a minute. I misread my portions. As to that leak, we're looking for 30 days from the date of the amended order. So what Mr. Dark said. If we were to make an order today, we'd like you to allow for 30 days for him to get somebody in there and get it done. As to the 2 issues that are he's committed to doing so, and he's promised that he would do so. As to the 2 other issues, the leaking around the building and the intercom. I'll address the intercom first. Boy, it's hard to find somebody to do one of those. I actually had my assistant call around and try and find some companies in the county that do that, but we were only able to find one. What I have in front of me here is an estimate for Overwolf Technologies, who apparently is the contractor that will be taking care of that. They are, I guess, Swilco. That is, again, a bit expensive, but that will be a new intercom system, a new plating system, the whole new system. That would take them time to do, and again, under the landlord and tenant board's procedures, the tenants would have to be issued some gap in time to allow the contractor to come in and do the work that he's allowed to do. It has to be done with certain sets of notices.
Are you telling me he's going forward with this, or he's just?
Yes, you can, yeah. Would you like to look?
Yes.
May I?
Pass it around.
Yes, sir. And that is his quote for the entire system being redone.
Was there a timing on this as well?
When the contractor can get in, there is timing attached to that under, if you turn to the appeal I submitted to you
Mhm.
guys. It's on page 2 of my Schedule A. Or to begin on or before September 8th. That gave him enough time to get the contractors in and aligned. The first person I called who was capable of doing this. In my research, I spoke, my assistant found somebody, but they were from Toronto, who was capable of doing it, and they didn't have an opening until December. So I said, we need to find somebody else. Apparently, these people have a time. They're uncertain as to where they can schedule it, but it looks like if the date was work to begin on or before September 8th, that gives them enough time to get in and do it. And it's also fairly thoughtful.
Awesome.
I mean, he's got something like, the order contains. My general contractor that we sent over there to have it reviewed said that, in his discussions with me, said that they were looking for something like $50,000 or $60,000 worth of work under this order. I mean, there's obviously time for financing that, time for hiring the contractors, adequate time to find somebody who's maybe do a little less expensive and such. In front of me here is an estimate for the repair of the roof that I was just speaking of. Yeah. And again, this estimate in front of you now is for, to repair the roof. The timing is still out on that, but it is my understanding from, the contractors. That my talks with the contractor and the owner of the company, that the mold can be remediated inside, repaired, and then if they needed to, they would go back in and repair whatever happened. When we get it safe for her inside. And then make sure that it doesn't happen again. It looks like it's a leak that's running onto flashing or something.
Yeah, the way you're talking, it sounds like they've identified where the water.
It sounds like it, yes.
Sounds like it is. So if they can remedy that issue.
Within 30 days of today is what we're asking.
Yeah, because my concern is the person that's actually living in this farm.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got 3 kids, 3 grandkids. Yeah, that would be our concern as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Weather permitting. Yeah.
This is a site report by a contractor that my firm hired to look at it. That's a local company, Gracework Construction. I believe they're headquartered in Petrolia. If you look at it, it contains something like $50,000 worth of work that needed to be done. Thus the request for some timing due to financing and scheduling, because well, $50,000 is a bit of money.
Can I ask you, I don't know if you know or not, how often do they do inspections in this building to?
So that's another issue. There's a property management company that I can't speak on, being that we're in a recorded meeting.
Okay.
We might end up being in a company.
Yeah, because if they do preventative maintenance, to look at this type of stuff, it might not have been there. Depending on what it is.
Yes.
I'm used to doing preventative maintenance, my background.
May I request we be off the record for a minute?
I can't close the meeting down.
Can you mute it?
No,
No, we can't.
it's a public meeting.
Can't hear.
It's my understanding that he's looking at some remedies for what you're discussing.
Okay. Okay, so you're here, what I say.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, 100%. Yes, excuse me. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Mr. Olson,
Yes, sir.
you'd made mention before that there was significant work performed prior to this by the owner. I think you mentioned that when you first started, performed significant work before this? Or have I heard you wrong?
No, sir, I think you misunderstood me. My apologies.
Okay.
I meant that this is significant work.
Ah,
In that
okay.
the estimate that you're currently looking at, I believe, is from Gracework. and it's roughly $50,000 worth of repairs to address what is on the property standard order.
Okay, and just so I am clear with this, the roof has been diagnosed and repairs are attempted to be made. This will be in conjunction with the mold remediation and covered under the 30-day timeline.
Yeah, I'm asking for 2 amendments to the order, the one for the roof and the leaking in the ladies' apartment.
Mhm.
I would ask that it be amended to read, apartment 202 in the building has an undiagnosed mold issue. The remediation on the mold work must be addressed with the work to begin on or before 30 days from the date of the amended order or sooner. It's my understanding that's already underway.
And had these developments and efforts been communicated to the tenants?
Legal counsel on property management company, I would hope so. I'm assuming some of them are sitting here today, so maybe they're finding out now.
That seems to be part of the problem. There seems to be a little bit of lack of communications going in between. with people.
I would imagine that the property
Yeah,
manager,
that's.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not faulting you at all. I'm just, if communications was between the tenants and the owner with what's ongoing at the time, you know, it might help a little bit.
In dealing with, if I may, in dealing with the owner of the property, the man's super nice, just a regular guy. It appears that the go-between between the
Yeah,
tenants and
there you go.
the owner is probably not working well.
That's all they
and
have
he's
to work
reviewing
on.
that.
Yes, I believe that was actually mentioned, with Ms. Bedard's testimony that, efforts to contact Guardian, the calls remained unreturned. So, you know, it sounds like there's a problem all the way around with that.
I concur, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would expect that there would be some sort of
Yeah,
elevated communication levels, or there would be a different contractor involved there.
Okay.
I think that's probably something that's been worked on as well, but
Pardon me?
say that's something that should be worked on. So.
Okay. Considering run my business.
No, I'm not telling anybody how to run the business.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Because quite often, you know, that's where things break down. You have reasonable tenants, you have reasonable owners, and it's the layer in between that kind of lets you down.
That seems to be problematic, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, me being here is because, well, that company didn't seem to be performing correctly. Or it wouldn't have happened. And I will say that it's my understanding that he became aware of the order mentioned about a year or so ago when this order was done, which speaks to the relationship that the property management company has been running. He became aware of it, to the best of my knowledge, when the issue at hand today was brought to him.
Mm.
And of course, my questions to my client were, well, why didn't you deal with that? And I'm just finding out about it now.
Lack of communications. Kelly, I understand, did you have a question?
By the way.
Can I agree? I'm still on the road.
Thank you.
I just want to clarify one point that everything with property standards is the property owner. I understand that
Oh, yeah,
they have
absolutely.
management.
Yeah.
And I did try that avenue, but my order is sent to the property owner. So unfortunately, I didn't track the mail to see when he would have received it. However, we'll leave it at that. I think that I'd like to just pin down the dates that we've agreed. And the other issue is the roof. There is quite a few large gaps between window frame, door frame to allow ingress of water. And I would suspect the entire building looks like that. The windows are quite old. So I think we need some sealing or hopefully not full window replacement.
That was actually if I gave you this one, that's what the contractor is suggesting, the solar replacement windows and doors. There's I believe a half oval shaped window above the entrance. They were suggesting that just be completely replaced. They said that, you know, caulking it will be a temporary fix, they just need to be replaced. Now, you guys are ordered windows, but these are specially sized, they're gonna take more than 60 days to order. And that's when you find somebody to do them and they have time to make them and get them here, and then you gotta get a contractor to put them in. Well, I guess in essence, what we're asking for is some time to do $50,000 worth of work, as far as I can tell. With the most urgent work being done immediately.
I hear you. Our concern, I believe our concern is the tenants that are living in this area. We have to deal with mold, deal with water coming in, with cold weather coming in over time. And something, so our concern is get this remedied as quick as possible. That's the power issue.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, like the timeline, he's a nice guy, nice guy, but let's get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and, so our concern is, let's get the job done as soon as we can, as quickly as we can, and address the issue as quick as we can, and keep the communications open.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's more of our issue. You know, so.
I believe my presence here is probably his way to attempt to.
Oh, I understand.
Be proactive.
I-
I'm not free.
Yeah.
I'm not even close to being free.
No, believe me, I know.
So if we can pin down a date, what are you, is it reasonable for the mold? And it's not even reasonable for the roof and the windows.
Well,
Dates.
I mean, as anybody that has ever worked on their own house, I used to be a contractor myself back in the day. The apartment 202 can be made, you know, dwellable and nice. By removing it, remediating it, cleaning it off, and then the source is found, the contractor is found to finish it off. Well, there's not an issue going on with it. I think it's reasonable to allow 30 days from the date of the amended order for him to begin addressing that issue, but it's my understanding it's already done. If that tenant's here, maybe she can speak to that.
We'll, sure.
As to the other stuff, I know the intercom system company that I believe I gave you the copy of that invoice or that quote. It's my understanding they can't even begin working until September on the intercom. That was their first available date. What we're asking for so I view it three ways. I mean, there's the mold and the mold remediation. That is an issue in and of itself. And you can fix the mold inside, remediate the mold inside, find the source and begin to get somebody in there to get rid of that. Number two, you've got the general leaks around the building and the intercom system. The general leaks around the building, is my understanding, were there when you purchased them. And they've been there for quite some time. And I wasn't able to find any other orders on the property prior to this fellow purchasing them, so they've been there for some time. To correct those particular issues, it's something like $30,000. And that's minimal. The time to correct those, we would ask the work to begin on or before September 8th. The time to correct the ladies' apartment in 202 should be 30 days from the date of the order. And that addresses it urgently while allowing time to get a contractor in case there's an issue with what's found underneath it. The September 8th date allows for time to bring the technology contractor in and the follow-up contractor. And it's my understanding there's 2 or 3 different contractors needed to address the stuff that we're suggesting needs to be addressed by beginning on September 8th or before. There would be a contract for the roof, there would be a contract for the windows and doors, there would be a contractor for the technologies, the intercom system. I mean, it's a complete rip out of the intercom system. You couldn't even do that inside of 2 weeks.
I guess what I would like to see is, if we did okay this and in certain timeframes and whatnot, we would like to see, or I would like to see some type of plan, what steps are being taken and when. Get a report every month, instead of a report now and then 6 months later, we get another report.
I can waive privilege to a board,
Mhm.
and so I'd like to hand you a copy of the email that says exactly what he's doing. I can't submit it to the record, but I could hand it to the board. If I submit it to the record, I would violate the Law Society Act, but I can waive his privilege to allow the panel of judges to look at it.
We just like
Okay.
to see that work is.
He does have some
continuing.
timing in there.
And
Yeah.
Steps are happening, instead of all of a sudden we hear, say, oh, I need another extension. You know, like I'd like to know what's going on and what's happening.
From a legal standpoint, the order is the order. If you were to give him an extension, I don't think he'd be in a legal position to ask for another extension unless it was.
Well, I guess
under the
the-
board.
I just don't want to hear
Excuse.
excuses.
Yeah, I hear that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know if the property management company is involved in like remediation?
Give me a moment. Oh, they have that document. Yes, they are somehow tagged into that. Part of that work is being brought over, the more urgent stuff was being brought over by them. That's my understanding.
My concern is drywall and plaster and to be removed. There is a process for this, it's not just throw some bleach and throw it down to cover it up.
I'm not an engineer, I don't know, but I know that they're hiring the. correct
That's
people to tell them
that's
to
what
do.
I'm asking.
Yeah.
I want to know what's
Yeah.
happening, when it's happening. You know,
I mean, I could as part of your order theoretically, I mean, we wouldn't have an issue with you, getting a status update. Proposed plan, status update, yeah, stuff like that, yeah,
We need one also, the tenants need that as well.
yeah, for sure, Yeah.
You know, and, too often in my past, I've seen that there's lack of communications, lack of letting us know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, right at the end, we can't do this because. But I want to know if there's actions that are actually being taken. Okay.
agreed, and I would suggest that from a point of law, if you were to make an order and you were not to abide by it, you'd be in a heck of a place because there isn't an additional appeal process passed today that it does involve Superior Court.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that acceptable? That kind of explains part of his beginning timeline, it's really the first page.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair.
So just for my benefit, the crews that are going to be doing the remediation, are they outside of Guardian? Or are they Guardian's own people?
They would have to be. They would have to. I've done a bit of work in relation to that company. They wouldn't have anybody capable of doing that.
Okay, another question, is mold limited to suite 202, or are there other areas of the building and other suites impacted by that?
It is my understanding that you're holding it, sorry. There are two units in question.
Mhm.
One of them is the one we're talking about. The other one, it needs to be emptied and demoed and redone completely. I don't know if that's due to mold or just the place is awful.
So just a rehabilitation of the suite in general.
It sounds like it.
Okay, I keep going back to this. What I say by a plan, a step-by-step plan, are we adhering to it? There has to be a start date and there has to be an end date. It has to be, because if we don't put an end
Company to
date,
provide that with you in 30 days,
They-
while also finishing the work on 202.
they can supply that if they.
It seems reasonable.
They can do that.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
Did I submit my request?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay, go ahead.
If I can suggest what I made use of in my previous occupation was a Gantt chart. Which showed the project beginning, and more importantly, milestones within there. To show the level of completion,
I believe-
because if you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Deliverable timelines.
Yes.
Absolutely. I guess our office can assist with that as well.
Yes.
I could get anticipated deliverable timelines from him. And thank you, sir. And I believe that some of this kind of dealt with some of his deliverable timelines now. But I do understand, from a management standpoint and from a city standpoint, why you want to see, when is this gonna happen? How's it gonna happen? What's doing it? Who's doing it?
Exactly. You know,
Has the
like,
permit been applied? Things
what
like that.
contract you chat with, you contact and when you contact, when the work's gonna start, when it's gonna finish and what's happening, where they are step by step, where they are.
Okay.
Not really a certain-
Then may I request to amend the request to amend?
Sure, we have.
If I can
Yeah.
interject, I don't believe there's a mechanism for. Well, if it gets to report back to the committee, perhaps you could put it in your decision that the plan, as you spelled it out, is reported to the CAO of the village. Because I think at the end here, for instance, if nothing is done by September 30th, if that's what you agreed on, then I'm going to move forward and ask for a motion of council to go ahead with the work. And then
Yeah,
it'll be
of
put
course,
on the
yeah.
taxes,
Yeah.
right? So there really isn't a reporting mechanism per se, weekly or monthly. We can ask for an overall plan with some dates, but if you want interim reports or updates, then they'll have to go to Mr. Burns.
I would respectfully disagree. If you were to order today, the timelines are amended and you were to ask, or you were to amend your order to read deliverable timelines by Access Associated. Pardon me, you're the
Sure.
CAO,
Yes.
Mr. Burns. If you were to require my client to report to Mr. Burns, I'm sure my office could handle that. And I would suggest probably that Ms. Bedard's office might be useful with maybe a report or updates, be given every say, I don't know. A report within 30 days, timelines and deliverables within 30 days, a report every 30 after that.
Yeah, we just want accountability.
Yeah, for
That's what
sure.
we're looking for.
That's why I'm here. Yeah, absolutely.
There just isn't a mechanism to report back to the committee. Is what I-
That's fine. That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
get
then
more-
you could do, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
James, absolutely.
I think.
Is there a building permit gonna be required for this work? I think. Hard to
If
say.
it was new windows, new roof. Likely not, intercom system.
Okay.
Likely not, those are normal.
But I would suggest that my client would be willing to maintain the retainer on on my services to report back to Mr. Burns and Ms. Bedard.
That's fine.
And Ms. Bedard, pardon me. And I'd ask that you amend the order to include some sort of reporting protocol. I believe that is fair. I believe that would ease the village's requirement for mine. I would also respectfully request that Schedule B be amended, that the work on Suite 202, or Apartment 202. Begin on or before 30 days from the amended order, and again, my office will keep Mr. Burns and Ms. Bedard. You know, it is mold, here's what we're doing about it, it isn't mold, it's been cleaned up, it isn't porous, I'm sure there's testing that goes along with it. The reporting or the timeline mechanism, the communication mechanism is probably very helpful for that scenario. Number two, I'd like to request that you amend the previous section to go to read work to begin, Schedule B rather, work to begin on or before September 8th, and again, with the communication guidelines.
So the amended order. Right, so we said 30 days. From today or tomorrow, and I don't think we want to land on July 1st, so.
Well, the 29th. I believe that Department 202 is already being, there's already something done to it.
By Guardian.
We can,
Right?
Can we,
go ahead. What's it?
Mary, to
Mary?
say,
Go ahead, Mary.
Guardian was in today. That was, they came in, sprayed some areas down, wiped them down. And unfortunately, I'm concerned with the young supervisor as well is not qualified enough to deal with this mold issue. When I have the young contractors that he sends in say one thing and they recommend doing a full replacement of half a wall or a full replacement of the wall, and the supervisor comes back and says no, because they don't think it's an issue
I'd like to request that we amend the order, given what she's saying,
Mhm.
to read. Adequate provincially approved mold testing to be completed and submitted to both the city. And Ms. Bedard,
Like I
I
actually
believe that's fair.
did mold testing and had it sent out and it came back. I emailed Kelly a copy of it. 5 different types of mold, 2 that are harmful to animals and people. This has been ongoing for me
This guy's fault.
with respiratory issues, health issues.
Okay.
I think,
And my dog as well. Sorry,
This is your apartment that we're speaking.
my apartment. And I still have to live there. My dog is suffering, she's chewing herself to the bone because of her allergies. Now, which has got more expensive over the last 6 months, because it continues to get worse. I pay $120 a month for her to get a shot, plus I pay for monthly allergy pills on top of that. She is there when I go to work, so I get relief when I leave. She doesn't. I went to my daughter's for a weekend, me and the dog. Everything cleared up. Her skin issues cleared up. My breathing cleared up. I could breathe. I don't need 2 puffers a day anymore. And this has been ongoing. I've emailed Guardian. Guardian says they're working on a plan with the owner. They'll get back to me. A month later, I email again or I call. Can you do something? Have you heard anything? Cut off again. And I know it's not the owner's fault. But I don't trust Guardian to do the work. To do the job or to make it safe for me to live in.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
may I request a recess of 5 minutes? I'm gonna see if I can solve this problem right now.
can we legally do that?
Yeah, you can
Yep.
all reset your own meeting.
Yes, let's take it.
Thank you. I'll be right back. May I be excused?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, that's good. You're all set.
My apologies, I meant that to only be 5 minutes. I needed to get clear instructions from my client. I have some.
Absolutely.
I will remain on file, for the company.
Very
In
good.
that capacity, we will manage, Miss number 202.
Mhm.
Will be, I have a local contractor. In fact, I'll give you the name of the local contractor right here. This local contractor is bonded, insured, licensed. He's local. He's done this type of work before. He will be retained to review it,
Okay,
figure out what the issue is, have it properly tested,
good.
and remediate it inside of 30 days from the date of this order.
Inside of 30 days.
And yeah, that's gonna be a rush because I know he's on a big job right now, but I'm pretty sure we can get out of it.
Okay. Okay,
Next, I will have a conversation with her afterwards to see what other issues she might have. And see if we can address those issues as well.
very good.
Additionally, my office will report to Ms. Bedard and Mr. Burns within 30 days of today's date with a timeline of the work to be done. I do not believe any of it requires a permit. If it does require a permit, we'll obviously get that. And he's asking for the extension. I guess it's still the extension is noted, other than I'm going to be involved personally with making sure that the most immediate issue is taken.
So you'd be out of contact with you.
Yes, sir.
So,
And I am the president of the Ontario Paralegal Association, which is the bar association for paralegals, and I actually know two of you. I didn't realize I knew two of you. I'm local. I live in Camlack.
all right.
My business is local. I represent a councilman next door here. To your city.
Very good. Very good.
I'm reliable, is what I'm saying.
We'll hold you for that.
All right, I hope so. I hope so.
Very good. I think that's it for.
Is that contractor acceptable?
Seems to be.
Well, the only thing I have to say about it, as long as he has the qualifications for the asbestos, or the asbestos,
The mold.
the mold.
So there, from a construction standpoint,
Yeah.
there is a test that can be purchased and that is sent to a lab. He doesn't contain the qualifications. The lab contains the qualifications. He contains the testing apparatus correctness. It's kind of like buying a floor or getting the flooring company to install it or getting a contractor to.
I understand. So you hire me to do a job, I get a job, I get the right person to do what I get done. So
Okay, so he'll get the right people in to do this.
Absolutely, and again, he is local.
Okay.
very good.
In fact, I actually believe he was contracted for the village at one point.
So they would meet with provincial regulation?
Of course. So, let me amend my request one more time.
Okay,
So I
just
included,
before you do that, I
yes, sir.
think we need to let these folks have.
We have to give a time for the audience to.
Yes, sir. May I be seated?
Absolutely, thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna go open up to the audience now. Okay, so I'm sorry, I forget your name,
Mary.
Mary. Mary, if you have any comments or questions you'd like to say, please.
It's- Like I said, my concern is just like my health, since this has been ongoing, like I've had multiple respiratory issues and I've had to see my doctor for that. Like headache, fatigue, pneumonia twice, then I'm losing time at work because I can't work, and then I'm trying to pay for the dog and pay for myself, and it's kind of like a vicious circle's been going ongoing. And it's unfortunate that Guardy hasn't been able to accommodate me for repairs when I ask, and they're like, they do have what they call a maintenance program.
Yes,
They come in every 6 months. They are supposed to come in and look at the repairs that need to be done. And I've actually pointed some stuff out multiple times. They come in, they change the battery on the fire alarm, maybe that's the preventive
Mary,
maintenance.
can I ask you a question? Have you ever put this in writing, your concerns in writing?
Some of them I've emailed to Guardian. I have copies, like I've saved all my emails. I haven't
Okay.
deleted anything. I have like dates and times when I've sent pictures.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've got like dates written down of what. Even when they send me a notice of entry, if someone's coming through. Or if they're coming in to do repairs, anything like that, I've kept it all.
Excellent. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And your daughter had a,
Oh, just this was about the intercom system. This is something that we've been talking about for years before this new owner came.
okay,
I think for 4 years ago, she had a knee surgery and she had PSW care coming in. And the intercom system was an issue and they weren't listening to her, they weren't replying to her, they wouldn't answer her calls. So I had to email them myself and finally they fixed it, but their solution is just such a short-term solution. They put a wireless like battery operated doorbell, which in the winter dies so quickly.
that's
So-
Band-Aid fix, okay.
So there's 3 or 4 of them out there
Okay,
now.
I think these issues sound like they're going to be addressed.
I hope so.
Yeah, so, it sounds like they are, so hopefully we'll keep an eye. So, okay, it's, sir.
My name's Leo.
Mhm.
I just moved in 3 months ago. And my concern is the intercom system, no question about it. Is basically if someone has a heart attack in a place or some, emergency. There's no way that the ambulance or the firefighters, the only way that they can get in is basically probably take the door off.
Yeah.
Because they can't really buzz anybody.
I went and looked at it the other day.
Oh, did you?
It's antiquated.
Yeah, and that's what really scares me. Is that how are they gonna get in? What time is of the essence, right?
That's our issue too, that we're talking up here, it's our issue, it's a safety issue.
Yeah,
Well, the communication, absolutely.
yeah,
And again, it's something that it's going to be.
and
Yeah.
I also talked to quite a few tenants that were there at least 5 years. And it's been like that for 5 years, if not longer. So. I just kind of shake my head and just go, well, 5 years, I mean. What's,
Well, we're trying to, this committee is trying to make sure people are held accountable now for what's being done. and
Yeah,
what's
that's
done.
great.
Okay, and I think that Mr. Wilson Matthew is going to help us, and she does, so.
well, that's good, that's good.
So things sound positive, so we hope that we're positive. We are concerned, we are absolutely concerned for tenants. So.
Yeah, and she lives right beside me, Mary, and I really feel for her because.
Yeah.
Even in my apartment, there's cracks, and you can see where the water was coming in, And but she has a major concern, which is. I think it needs to be dealt with right away. And that's all I have to say for today.
What's your name, sir?
Leo Wyndham.
Leo. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments for before we?
Yes, I do. Mary,
Yes.
Leo, is there anything you've heard today in here that gives you optimism and gives you hope? Or on the other hand, is there anything you've heard today in these proceedings that would cause you concern?
Gives me optimism, that's for sure, like.
Shouldn't
A little bit of optimism, but, is getting a hold of Guardian, that's, and certain people there. They never get back to me.
Well, that's the communication part that we're talking about.
How long is this mold been going on in Mary's place?
Right.
And nothing's happened, like something very, very important to her health.
Had it been addressed probably primarily 2 years ago, then it probably would never got this bad.
But now that we do have that, do you feel comfortable with the solutions proposed by Mr. Olson?
Yes,
Do you have faith in that?
yes, I do. As long as-
How does that make you feel?
Uh,
Granted, you're coming into a new place. Were you in the village or the area before?
No.
No, so you're coming into a brand new situation.
Yeah.
I don't know about how everyone else feels, but when I have moved in, I'm just at a heightened awareness too. and you
Yeah.
wanted to get things.
Yeah, and you know, me too, and I love the location, like I love living there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it just, stuff needs to be addressed right away, you know, not. Leave it linger for 5 years, you know, that's. So I'm a little bit optimistic, like,
Mm-hmm.
when I see. The actual things getting done,
Yeah.
Seeing is believing.
I'll be, yeah, and I'll be very happy.
Because sadly, we cannot address what happened 5 years ago. We have no influence over that. But I think what's been communicated is there is an interest and a concern and a commitment to see that going forward.
Well, that's good.
Thank you.
I have something.
Absolutely, go ahead.
I'm optimistic with everything that Mr. Olson has said that things are gonna change. I hope so. How are the tenants gonna be updated on, you know, the progress? Like we talked about a plan, but is there like a monthly update, like, you know, the contractor will be coming this month and like, how are they supposed to be updated on the progress or when it's gonna start?
Okay, well, I believe Mr. Olson has committed to providing progress and milestones and dates to Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns, is there a way that that could be communicated to the tenants, or if they queried you?
Well, I think it should go from the owner to the tenants.
Okay.
Like whatever communication is being shared with me, I don't see any reason that can't be shared with the tenants.
Yes, that's absolutely.
I would suggest that, and again, everything I've said, as long as I'm on the file, will occur. You have my word. I would suggest, under the Residential Tenancies Act, you would have to be given appropriate notice before the work is done at your house. That would be an avenue for making you aware of what's going on. I apologize for addressing the witness, my turn. They would have to be made aware under the Residential Tenancies Act of the entry. They'd have to be made aware of what's going on. They would have to get permission for it. That is in and of itself a form of communication. The contractor will be there with them.
They just can't walk into a unit and start.
Yeah. I mean, they have, this is almost a duplicitous proceeding in some way, and in fact, these rights are guaranteed under other acts as well. Right?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see is that the mold issue take precedent and not waiting for, say, 30 days after we decide. I like to see it done somehow, to get it done sooner than later. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't know how Garden's gonna do it. They gotta get somebody in there because this is a health issue. It's not just oh, well. And and I get the feeling that they're just going, oh, well, and I don't like that.
My client has authorized me to contract my local contractor, which I use for an expert witness at my firm. He's a dear friend of mine.
Right.
And make sure that that portion of it is dealt with. So on that portion, I already have authorization to make sure the work gets done.
As soon as possible.
Yeah.
I
Of
mean,
course, yeah.
yeah.
Of course.
And done by a reputable well, you don't know them, a reputable. You come in and do it properly. It has to be cut it out. Don't just spray and go, oh, well, and walk away. That's not acceptable in my view.
Yes, sir. The authorization that I received while we were on recess was to have the local contractor who went there to make an initial assessment of it, go back and deal with that particular issue as he, as a contractor, dealt fit. As he as a contractor felt was correct.
Just make a comment.
Not just spray it and walk away.
We as a committee cannot tell a contractor how to do the job, so.
Well, no, I don't want,
You know, we can't tell them how to do that.
no, but
We just say that, yeah, I understand what you're saying, just get it done as soon as we can, whatever. But we can't tell them how to.
qualify the person, if they come in and do it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? Yes, one more?
So today they had, someone coming to show the apartment for a potential buyer,
Yes.
is what my mom was told. What happens if the building is sold? Do these fixes still need to get made?
So well, it'd be a different owner, correct? They have to be at the,
may I be recognized? I'm not sure how much formality you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would suggest that you can't possibly, from a legal standpoint, make an order against the owner. The owner is the order you're making is against the property. So the answer seems to be that it's the property, yeah.
That is correct, and that's why I registered it to the title. So this order goes with the property.
All good? Yep. Okay, we'll call a close to this meeting. And, take it up. Second.
I'll send it.
Okay.
So you guys, we're done, meeting's over, and we'll convene, make a decision, and we'll reach out to you and let you know what the decision is.
Very good. Meeting's over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay on.
And we were sticking to June 29th, right?
I guess that's up to.
Is that what you were asking? Mark?